The Navy's secret weapon arrived one war too late. USS Constellation, hull number FFG-62, was designed for exactly this fight. 32 vertical launch cells, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter on deck, a radar suite capable of simultaneous anti-air, anti-submarine, and surface warfare. A hull engineered for the shallow, terrain-masked littoral waters where the Navy's destroyers have been failing since February 28, 2026. She was scheduled for delivery this April. This month, the exact month the mines are still in the water, the IRGC Mosquito fleet is still active, and the Navy is flying 50-year-old wooden minesweepers from Japan because there is nothing else. What no one in the Pentagon is saying out loud: Iran never had to defeat the Constellation. It just had to wait. And the Navy's own procurement system did the rest. She is 12% complete, in a shipyard in Wisconsin, canceled 3 months before the war started. April 2015, USS Simpson, FFG-56, was decommissioned at Naval Station Mayport. 40 sailors in dress whites, a flag folded. The last of the Oliver Hazard Perry class. 51 frigates built between 1977 and 2004. Gone. Their replacement was supposed to be the Littoral Combat Ship, the fast modular vessel that would do what frigates had always done: escort convoys, hunt submarines, clear mines in congested coastal waters. It averaged 29% operational availability for its mine clearing systems. Its drone boats ran into Mexican territorial waters during training. Its aluminum hull generates a magnetic signature large enough to trigger the Iranian influence mines it was supposed to hunt. 2 of the 3 LCS minesweepers positioned in the Middle East were photographed in Malaysia when the mines started going into the strait. The frigates that could have been there were scrapped at $2 million each. Their replacement costs $1.3 billion per hull, is 3 years late, 759 tons overweight, only 12% complete, and was canceled before it ever touched saltwater. Now imagine USS Constellation in the Strait of Hormuz today. 32 VLS cells, an active sonar suite, hunting mines, a hull hardened to survivability standards the LCS never met. She is in Wisconsin. The LCS is in Malaysia. Here is the question nobody in Navy acquisition wants to answer on camera. The United States identified the frigate capability gap in 2015. It spent 5 years designing a replacement. It awarded a contract in 2020. And the ship it built to close that gap was canceled 3 months before Hormuz needed it. Why does the world's most powerful navy keep arriving to its own wars with the ships it built for the last one? Because the procurement system that builds the future runs on a timeline that wars do not respect. And by the time the bureaucracy catches up to the threat has already changed the math. Enemy Decoded does not cover what the Navy says it's building. It calculates what the Navy actually has when the shooting starts, and what the gap between those two numbers costs in blood, oil, and strategic position. If that equation is what you came here for, stay with us. Iran did not design its Hormuz strategy to defeat the Constellation class. It designed it to defeat what the Navy actually deployed. And the Navy deployed the LCS. The IRGC has spent 30 years studying American surface warfare doctrine. It built its Mosquito Fleet doctrine around the minimum engagement geometry of a large surface combatant in a 2-mile corridor. It placed mobile missile launchers behind the ridgelines of Kesham Island because it knew the Spy 1 radar could not see around granite. It seeded shipping lanes with influence mines calibrated to the exact magnetic signature the LCS's aluminum hull generates, because it knew the LCS's mine clearing systems operated at 29% availability. Iran's mine costs $100,000. Clearing it costs $1 million. Their fast boat costs $50,000. The LCS that was supposed to hunt it cost $600 million and was in Malaysia. An Arleigh Burke costs $2.5 billion and cannot safely maneuver in a 2-mile corridor. Iran wins that exchange ratio every day the strait stays closed. The Constellation was designed to break that ratio. Its 32 VLS cells free destroyers for blue water operations. Its shallow draft lets it operate where the LCS cannot survive. Its multi-mission suite simultaneously hunts mines, tracks fast surface contacts, and maintains area air defense. Iran never had to defeat the Constellation. It just had to wait for the Navy to cancel it first. The obvious answer is, build it faster. The Navy tried. The contract was awarded to Fincantieri Marinette Marine in April 2020. The design was supposed to be low risk, a modified FREMM frigate already in service with France and Italy. Start with proven. Deliver in July 2026. Except the U.S. survivability requirements changed the ship. Shock hardening standards. Cybersecurity mandates. Weight margins for future weapons growth. Combat system integration requirements. Each change was individually justified. Collectively, they transformed a low-risk design into a ship that by mid-2025 was 759 metric tons overweight. The GAO found it first. Its report concluded the Navy had begun construction before finalizing the design, creating what it called a misleading illusion of progress. Workers were installing structural components before the drawings were finalized. When drawings changed, steel already cut had to be cut again. As of November 2025, 12% complete. Scheduled for April 2026. Revised estimate, April 2029. A 36-month slip. Here is what the cancellation actually reveals, and why it is more strategically significant than any single ship's absence. On November 25, 2025, the same day the Constellation was cancelled, Navy Secretary John Phelan announced the FFX, a new frigate based on the Huntington Ingalls Industries Legend-class national security cutter, already proven, already built, already in Coast Guard service. Not a ship designed from the ground up at maximum complexity. A modular ship on a proven hull, carrying containerized weapons configured for whatever the mission requires, and built fast enough that the Navy can field 20 of them in the time it took to build 12% of one Constellation. The Typhon launcher is already operational. The Army fielded it in 2023, deployed it to the Philippines, fired Tomahawk missiles from a truck, a 40-foot shipping container, standard crane loadable, no shipyard integration required. Load it on any ship with a deck large enough to hold it, and that ship becomes a strike platform. 3 FFX hulls with containerized Typhon launchers could cost less than completing one Constellation at its current overrun trajectory. The Constellation was the right answer to the wrong question. The right question was never, what is the most capable frigate we can design? It was, what is the most capable ship we can put in the water before the next war starts? Iran answered that question on February 28, 2026. A single frigate has 1 radar, 1 helicopter, 1 magazine. The threat that shut down 1,100 vessels in the Persian Gulf did not come from one direction. That is the lesson the Constellation's cancellation forced the Navy to learn. The FFX was never designed to answer it alone. The Accelerated Landing Ship Medium program gives the fleet a shallow draft platform for exactly the confined waters where destroyers cannot go. Unmanned surface vehicles provide the standoff mine hunting capability the LCS promised and never delivered. The Typhon launcher's containerized architecture generates distributed fires from platforms that are not on any adversary's targeting list because they do not look like warships. Together, these are a system, not one complex hull trying to do everything. A fleet of simpler, faster-built platforms that collectively cover the full mission spectrum, with enough of them that losing one does not hollow out an entire mission category. Systems survive attrition. Single points of failure do not. Iran's miscalculation was not about what ship the Navy had. It was about what the Navy was going to do with what it had. Tehran correctly identified the capability gap. It watched the GAO reports. It watched the LCS mine clearing systems fail at 29% availability. It watched the Avenger-class minesweepers leave Bahrain in January 2026. It watched the Constellation get cancelled and assumed the Navy would fight with what its procurement system had built. What it miscalculated was how fast the United States would innovate under fire. The A-10 the Air Force was retiring was hunting speedboats within 3 weeks of February 28th. Wooden minesweepers raced from Japan by April. Marines on USS Tripoli were conducting boarding operations within 6 weeks. Knife-fish drones deployed. Allied MCM assets from France, Britain, Germany, Italy, and India integrated into the theater. Iran planned for the Navy to fight with the tools its procurement system built. It did not plan for the Navy to fight with everything the joint force had, including platforms scheduled for retirement and aircraft, whose funding had just been zeroed. That is not a procurement failure winning a war. It is a procurement failure being compensated for by operational creativity under fire. Those are not the same thing, but close enough to matter. The FFX is not a solution. It is a direction. The first FFX does not exist. Its design is not finalized. Its construction has not started. The national security cutter hull it is based on is approximately 3,500 tons smaller than the Constellation class. Less magazine depth, less displacement margin, less survivability against the anti-ship missiles. The Constellation's hardening was specifically designed to resist, and the gap remains open. USS Constellation, FFG-62, and USS Congress, FFG-63, will still be completed in 2029 and beyond. 2 frigates. Against a threat environment, the Washington Institute estimated required 16 dedicated MCM vessels just to clear one strait. 2 frigates by 2029. For a threat that closed the strait in 2026. 3 numbers define this story. April 2026. The month USS Constellation was contractually scheduled for delivery. The exact month the Strait of Hormuz needed the ship she was designed to be. 12%, the fraction of that ship that exists, in a Wisconsin shipyard, 3 years from the water. 1 war too late. November 2025, the month the program was canceled. 3 months before Operation Epic Fury. 3 months before 1,100 ships anchored in the Persian Gulf. 3 months before the Navy sent 50-year-old wooden minesweepers racing from Japan because the modern replacement was in Malaysia and the one before that had just been scrapped. The Navy is now building the FFX, faster, simpler, modular. Why does the United States Navy keep learning this lesson one war at a time? Enemy Decoded explains what others won't.